Hey crew, I've got the key. Well, actually one of 4 keys here. I'm wearing another one, plus there's a key card and a smartphone app too. That Rivian R1S. We are gonna take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. Up front, it looks just like the R1T with the LED bar going across the face, plus these oval designs for the LED projector headlights and DRLs. There are fog lights below that. You've got some gloss black, 2 metal tow hooks, and some satin silver finish. Underbody, there's skid plate protection that's reinforced as an option on this vehicle. This one's also painted in the Forrest Green color, which is spectacular in the sunlight with the metallic flake on the surface. As an option, we've got gloss black 22-inch wheels, wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion all-season tires, 275 section front and rear. Adventure trims like this one get yellow accents for the calipers and badges. Your charge port door is found right there. The door handles pop out when unlocked and then fold in when locked, as do the door mirrors. Stepping back to look at the profile, not much to fuss about here. It's a very traditional boxy silhouette that I do like. Short front and rear overhangs mean excellent approach and departure angles off-roading. The air suspension right now is in the standard ride height, but it can lower down for easy passenger and cargo loading or raise up to 15 inches of ground clearance for your off-road endeavors. LED taillight bar in the back to match the one in the front. Rivian badge, some satin silver and gloss black trim down low. Especially in this Forrest Green paint job and from the rear, I get like these military vehicle vibes. Very cool. Overall, the exterior of the Rivian R1S is awesome. I think it looks better than the Tesla Model X or Mercedes-Benz EQS. I want to hear from you guys though. Do you like it better? Let me know in the comments. Let's check out the interior now. Opening up and looking inside at this Black Mountain Leatherette interior with green accents on the seats, Rivian badges on the back, perforations and rear seat heating, plus some yellow touches here and there. On the doors, it's Leatherette all up top, all the way down here where we get into ejection molding. There's a fabric expanding door pocket, high-end Meridian sound system, one-touch up-down windows, and open-pore ashwood trim. To get into the third row, do a long press of this button. The seat will slide forward and out of the way. The access point isn't huge, so there will be a bit of a clamber for taller adults to get into that third row. This seat is now slid all the way forward and angled all the way upright. That gives me tons of knee room, but this one is the opposite. All the way back and reclined all the way back. That's much more compromised. So somewhere in the middle could definitely work. And then headroom is so great. With this fully glass roof, that gets the big thumbs up for me. There's also a suede wrapping on the headliner, Leatherette padding on the armrest. Lift this up to find a USB-C port and some storage, and you've got 2 cup holders on either side. The third row, definitely good for smaller kids, could work in a pinch for bigger adults. On our way into the second row, note the woven green Chilewich floor mats. Very cool. The higher floor does mean that taller folks are going to want to duck their heads so they don't make contact with the roof line on their way in. There's a grab handle here and some lighting, a coat hook and USB-C port on the back of each of these seats. There are 2 more USB-C ports in the middle, below the air vents, and 4-zone climate control system. The seat is in the middle position, and so my knee room isn't great. I can slide it back more for more knee room, and I can recline it to really lounge. The foot pockets are big to slide my feet under, but the seat cushions aren't giant, and the higher floor means that the thigh support isn't super generous. The headroom is though. Just like the third row with that glass roof, I've got a big thumbs up for that. The second row has really got it going on. There's also an armrest that comes down with 2 cup holders. If you need that metal seat, then it is on the narrower side. Of course, no drive shaft hump means it's easy to get into that seat. And once again, the headroom is divine. Let's check out the front. Door close noise. Ooh, I like that thud. That is a well-built sound. Up front, we've got heated and ventilated chairs with power adjustments including lumbar. Rivian is on the tread plates, aluminum accenting on the foot pedals. The front doors have the same materials as the back ones. To open the liftgate, tap here on the screen, and it is a clamshell style opening. So you've got this top portion and a tailgate on the bottom. So you can sit and put on your cleats for soccer practice. Behind the third row, we've got 18 cubic feet of space if you want to expand that. Hopefully you're tall. You reach in and click up on these tabs and fold those down, and it's a split 50-50 fold. That gives you 47 cubic feet of space. If you want to fold down the second row as well, you press these buttons on the side. Unfortunately, there's no way to raise the second row from back here, and furthermore, when this third row is fully flat, it's terribly difficult to get them up. There are no straps to pull them. You either have to clamber up here, or you go around, open the back doors, then slide the second row forward and lift them up. But that's honestly my only complaint about the cargo area, because everything else is so well thought out. The floor can be adjusted to be flat so you could sleep on it when the seats are folded. Underneath we've got storage, and under that is even deeper storage where you may want to stick a spare tire. Adjusting cleats are on either side. There's an air compressor to air up your tires after off-roading or inflate your kids' blow-up toys. AC and DC outlet are there, and of course we have that giant 2-level front trunk with a drain plug at the bottom if you want to turn it into an ice chest. No power close and lock feature on the tailgate, just a close up button. In the front seats, wish there was a grab handle to pull to get in. You've got one here, just not one to ease your entry. The driver gets a heated Leatherette wrapped steering wheel with a flat-ish bottom. We've got these knurled dials to control everything from your mirror positioning to the tilt and telescope of the wheel when you go around into those menus in the infotainment system. There's a high-resolution digital instrument cluster, no head-up display, 16-inch touchscreen infotainment system that is very responsive, and the graphics are super sharp. It just doesn't have things like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Below the screen are air vents, and below that is a giant opening where you could stick a backpack. There's a hidden speaker in here for your next tailgate party or at your campsite. It sings to you. There are 2 cup holders hidden inside there. There's a big wireless smartphone charging pad, probably big enough for 2 phones. Deep console storage in here with 2 more USB-C ports. Love the open pore ashwood trim up on the dashboard. Visibility is quite good and can be even better if you fold down the third row headrests. There's also standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. I adore this cabin. The design, the layout, the technology. I would love to see leather. I know Leatherette's a trend, and the third row legroom and the way you fold and unfold the seats is not perfect. Otherwise, it's just so impressive. Let's take the R1S for a drive now. All right, I'd say let's fire it up, but the moment you're in this seat, the vehicle's already on, so you just have to put your foot on the brake to allow you to engage reverse or drive. Before we do that, let's put on our safety belts and then check out the drive mode and braking regeneration and suspension settings. So we are in all-purpose mode to start. The ride is soft, the braking regeneration is standard, and the stability control is on. Right now it says we have 91% charge and 266 miles of range. 266 at 91% would be less than the 316 total miles that we're supposed to have. But if you go into conserve, then it's going to adjust our estimate. And now we're getting a whole lot closer. It says it's still changing, 288 miles. And that's right about at 91%. So that's where you get that full 316 if you're in the right drive mode. We'll be in all-purpose rather. Then we put our foot on the brake, lift up into reverse, and that brings up a high-resolution camera system. We've got trajectory lines, we've got a bird's eye view. You can also change up the camera view to show the front or the back. As usual, we'll start off with the turning radius test. And we find that the R1S has a respectable turning radius. Turn signal sound. That's pretty unique. It's almost like the amplified noise of drops of water coming from a faucet. And the world famous horn test? Why does that sound so far away? Listen to this. It's like someone else is honking the horn. Hopefully it's loud enough on the outside. In standard braking regen, there's still quite a bit of slowing that happens. At least at low speeds, so you could probably drive the R1S one pedal in standard regen. Yeah, I've got to try high, because at this point, how much crazier is it? Oh, wow, that's considerable. The slowing force in high braking regen, one, it happens immediately as you pull your foot back from the throttle. And two, it's just like someone put a heavy weight on the nose of the truck. It's just, we're slowing. Even before you really want it, it's like, it's resisting so much against your right foot on the throttle. It's like, give me that regen. Like you're barely pulling your foot back, and it's wanting to slow the truck down so much. This is almost too much. It also doesn't, in fact, help your range. Your range estimate improves when you go to standard braking regen. The powertrain in this Rivian R1S is mighty. You've got 4 electric motors giving us an all-wheel drive setup, paired with a 128.9 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Our output is 835 horsepower and 908 pound-feet of torque. Huge numbers. To speak of the ride quality for a moment, in our soft setting, the adaptive dampers and air suspension do a great job absorbing the road imperfections. However, the ride itself is very rocky. Not rocky like rocks. It rocks the vehicle like a boat. You just sort of like sway here and there as you go over the bumps, like it just hasn't settled itself. And that could lead to seasickness, which is a weird thing to say when driving a car. Even the acceleration, there's quite a bit of lean back as you're moving forward. And then paired with the strong regeneration, it just could leave you feeling uneasy. Not quite as much for the driver, but as a passenger, if you're not knowing what to expect, it just may not be a comfortable riding experience. Now, one thing that could make your passengers quickly forget about their seasickness is when you put your foot down in the R1S. So let's do a real-world 0 to 60 test next. For that, I've got my race box set up here, and I want to enter sport drive mode. That's going to lower the vehicle down and improve throttle response. I'll then lay my foot in the throttle, let go of the... I wasn't ready. I definitely wasn't ready for that. 3.49 seconds to 60. Good heavens. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised when we're talking about 908 pound-feet of torque, but yes, the R1S is obscenely quick. And not just from a dig. Lord have mercy. Mid-range is ferocious. And it's all the more eerie because short of the electric motor sound, there's no other artificial noise. So you're just kind of not doing anything, and then you're doing a lot. Urgently. One great benefit to the regen braking is the moment your foot is off that throttle, you've come down from what can be insane speeds promptly. it just pulls you right back down. 3.49 seconds to 60. And independent tests have seen even quicker because, as I said, that was very real world. It was not a perfectly flat surface. The tires had not been warmed. We just went for it. And the R1S delivered. And if we go out of sport into conserve, it stays reasonably quiet. It's not silent. You do get some wind noise. The tire noise is kept to a minimum, which is impressive given the 22-inch wheels. Not getting much in the way of road noise, and of course we don't have the internal combustion motor to cancel out some of the NVH. And so the fact that the R1S is fairly quiet, even though it's a taller SUV, is fairly impressive. Speaking of impressive, how are the brakes from around 60? Sent my race box flying. The brake pedal feel wasn't amazing. I mean, the transition at full ABS from regen to friction braking left it a bit of a mystery as I went to the pedal. The braking itself was totally acceptable. We scrubbed speed reasonably well. There was not a massive amount of nosedive. The vehicle stayed stable. So we could have confidence in the brakes, but getting used to that pedal, that'll take some time. As we are in a highway, this seems like a great time to test out Rivian's adaptive cruise and lane keep feature. Pull down twice on the stalk, and if you're on a highway, it will now take over the throttle input to keep us at a set speed. And so far, it's doing a great job keeping us in the center of the lane. It does want me to check in on the wheel. Here's a first test. We've got the highway splitting off to another highway. Is it going to keep us? It does. On the highway that we started on while negotiating the curvature of the road. Okay, round two. Yet again, keeps us where we were starting. And that's tough for some of these systems. Some just want to take you off in every exit that possibly comes up. I do wish this had a lane change assist feature like we get in some systems from the Germans or from Cadillac or GM in their Super Cruise system. But in terms of following the road trajectory, this works flawlessly, and this is going to reduce driver fatigue. It also solves one of the other issues I have with the braking regen, is that there is no regen offsetting. So you can't just coast on the highway, so you have to use this system to give your right foot a brake. All right, I feel like it's time now to take the R1S treading lightly into the dirt. All right, we've arrived at our off-road technical course to start things off, and I have us in the off-road all-terrain drive mode. You can see these other off-road settings, including soft sand, rock crawl, rally, and even a drift mode. Maybe we'll play with that a bit later. The air suspension is in the highest setting as well, giving us 15 inches of ground clearance. I can bring up the camera system to use as an aid while off-roading, and away we go. As we do this, keep in mind that we're on all-season tires, not all-terrain tires, all-season tires. Rivian does offer all-terrain tires from the factory on smaller wheels if you plan on doing things like this all the time, and that's just going to give you even more grip over slippery obstacles. But as we're about to prove, you just don't need them if it's a more casual and infrequent activity, because the R1S is just insanely capable. Superb approach and departure angles from those short overhangs, and as I said, 15 inches of ground clearance. Combine that with the instantaneous electric torque to scamper over obstacles, and nothing looks daunting. It's just keeping you from the other side, that's all. For a short period of time until you overcome it. And when you lose traction, you've got independent electric motors to shuttle around the available 908 pound-feet of torque. So you don't stay stuck for very long at all. Now, with the solid platform of the batteries in the floor, and without solid axles or disconnecting sway bars, you don't quite have the same wheel articulation. But with all this ground clearance and with Rivian's hydraulic active anti-roll control, so you're not worried about tipping over on things, you can keep going with confidence. The turning radius test that yielded a concise flip around on the road also helps here off-road. Wish we had something like a turn assist feature where it would brake the inner tire to pivot us even better. And also, though we have the regen braking that stops forward progress well, a downhill cruise control, a hill descent control system would be welcomed so you don't start to slide on anything. This truck is just dazzling. The kid in me cannot wait anymore. I've got to try out drift mode. Okay, so turn off stability control. The ride height's going to lower to 11.5 inches. And then I'm just going to turn the wheel. It's a dumb laugh. It's dumb fun though, so I guess it's appropriate. Gosh, there's so much power. We can move from those shenanigans in drift mode to rally now, and that's going to turn back on stability. It's also going to take the suspension from stiff to soft while keeping the quote-unquote quick acceleration and sporty handling to make some dust fly. Yeah, suspension doing a great job over the rough road here. Doesn't dampen the power at all, that's for sure. This is a rip snorting good time. What a treat, this thing. It's the variability of off-road capability in the R1S that wins me over here. It goes from the drift machine we experienced to the technical crawler that we experienced to now the soft riding over rough roads, an insane acceleration monster that it is right now. Admittedly, I had some things on the road that didn't blow me away, but the moment you get it off the tarmac, I say that as we look at a partially paved portion of the road, the moment you get it on some dirt, it comes alive. I think it's time to assign a word of the day to the R1S, and really this word of the day is for Rivian as a brand. And that word is burgeoning, meaning growing or developing quickly. And that I feel is very representative because Rivian was formed in 2009, and here we are just 13 years later, and they're putting out vehicles like the R1S and R1T that are, no, not perfect, but they're very capable in the biggest, most important categories of a production vehicle, and in other categories, pushing the boundaries, taking us to new heights. off-road capability as an electric vehicle, I mean, Rivian's doing it better than everyone. And now before we hop straight into competition, let's talk about charging in the R1S. If you're hooked up to a 220 outlet, then you can expect a full charge, 0 to 100%, in about 13 hours. If you find a 150 kilowatt fast charger, then you can top up from 10 to 80% in just around an hour. And that charge rate isn't the best we're seeing in the industry, but it's competent. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Let's talk about our consumption. So it says that in conserve mode, which is the drive mode we started in, we have 216 miles remaining and 68% charge. So that's a drop of 72 miles because we started with 288 miles and we've driven about 60 miles. So a difference of 18 miles when you think about all the times I've pushed the R1S is very good. I mean, I did not expect that at all. I expected much heavier consumption from the battery, but that's not what we've seen. The R1S holds onto its charge very well in off-road modes, in sport modes, and in normal driving. Pricing and competition are up next. Before we get to that, actually, the top speed of the R1S is 110 miles per hour. The starting figure for the adventure grade, the only trim level of the R1S on offer right now, is $91,000, and this vehicle, as tested with the Forrest Green paint job and the underbody shielding and the 22-inch wheels, is just about $99,000. There will be a less expensive version down the road with less range and a longer range version as well. Vehicles it competes against. One I drove very recently, the Mercedes-Benz EQS 580. That vehicle started at $127,000. It made 586 horsepower, or 86 or 68, can't remember. It got to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and the range was 285 miles. Then we've also got the Tesla Model X, the standard version, that costs $122,000. It makes 670 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 3.5 seconds, and it has a class-leading range of 351 miles. Slated against those vehicles, the R1S is the least expensive, it is the most capable off-road, it is the best looking to my eyes, and it has range right smack dab in the middle between those two vehicles. And I just kept it to 3-row electric SUVs, by the way. There are other electric SUVs to consider, but if you need that third row, those are the only offerings for you at this moment in time. The R1S, as I said, is not perfect. The third row of seats leaves something to be desired in terms of legroom, and the way that they stow and come back up needs to be more well thought out. On the road, the suspension sways more than I would like, and the brake pedal tuning needs to be improved. The Mercedes-Benz EQS 580, I feel like, is a more luxurious vehicle around town, though the range isn't the best, it's very expensive, and the brake pedal tuning isn't any better than this vehicle. And the Tesla Model X, I just don't love how it looks, and the interior also feels lacking, even compared to something like this that isn't embellished in any particular way. At this moment in time, the R1S is absolutely my #1 pick in this segment. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I'll see you next time.